We experience time as a series of rigid 60-minute segments, an artificial cadence known as the 1260 chain. This mechanical rhythm acts as a constant, underlying frequency, designed to keep human perception within a predictable, repetitive loop. This standardization wasn't an accidental evolution of technology. It was a centuries-long project to ensure that the vast majority of human activity remained within a manageable, unconscious trance. The Roman Empire provided the prototype for this control. When Augustus Caesar took power, he didn't just conquer territory, he launched a massive propaganda campaign to redefine the very nature of Roman identity. His poets and historians systematically recast the sovereignty of the East as a moral decay. They targeted Cleopatra, transforming her political power into decadence and her cultural heritage into a dangerous, un-Roman threat that required imperial correction. By institutionalizing this single narrative, Rome effectively severed the connection to the feminine divine. They established the first layer of the artificial matrix, replacing ancestral intuition with the cold logic of the state. In the late 1800s, European empires revived these Roman tactics. They utilized the same theories of environmental determinism to argue that geography dictated a natural hierarchy of races. This era produced a race science that cherry-picked classical texts. It provided a pseudo-intellectual justification for colonialism, claiming that the conquest of the African interior was a biological necessity. This standardization extended to the sacred. Scholars took ancient, fluid oral traditions and locked them into rigid written codices, narrowing the scope of how these texts could be understood. The Masoretic vowel system, while preserving the text, functioned as a filter. By fixing the pronunciation of ancient consonants, it prioritized a specific orthodox meaning over the multiple, layered interpretations found in the original breath of the language. Just as these scholars fixed the meaning of ancient breath, the imperial narrative fixed the boundaries of human consciousness. Our deeper, cosmic history was buried under the weight of standardized time and academic gatekeeping. Even at the height of Roman expansion, the erased lineage left physical markers behind. Cleopatra Selene, the daughter of the last Egyptian queen, ruled the frontier kingdom of Mauritania while maintaining a hidden Ptolemaic identity. She and her husband, King Juba II, used a dual-coded strategy on their coins. Juba's side used Latin to signal Roman loyalty, while Selene's side used Greek and the crescent moon of Isis to signal a continued connection to her divine Egyptian roots. Juba II also documented the world outside the Roman frontier. His writings, preserved in fragments, mapped the Canary Islands and recorded local inventions, establishing a North African historical identity that functioned entirely outside of Roman control. These artifacts and lost geographies were a deliberate method of preservation. They kept the memory of a sovereign, non-Roman lineage alive, ensuring the code would persist until it could be recognized again. The deterministic view of a rigid, predictable universe began to collapse in the early 20th century. Physicists like Ettore Majorana began exploring the reality of quantum polarities. His work suggested that the universe was not a fixed machine, but a field of energetic possibilities that could exist in multiple states at once. This scientific shift mirrors the Vedic myth of the Ashwini Kumaris. These twin deities represent the rapid transition between dawn and dusk, the exact point where darkness and light intersect. In Vedic tradition, these twins mastered the honey wisdom of immortality. They performed miraculous healing by resolving the tension between opposites, acting as a bridge between the physical and the divine. Both quantum physics and Vedic mythology point to a single mechanism. The boundaries of the three-dimensional prison are not absolute. They can be navigated by mastering the specific tension between opposing forces. Ancient cycles and modern predictions are currently overlapping. The historic eclipse recorded by Juba II and the traditional Vedic timelines both suggest that the current age of darkness enters its final transition in 2026. As the mechanical 1260 clock begins to lose its grip, it makes room for a natural measure of time, the 1320 cosmic cycle, which emphasizes synchronicity over linear control. We see this transition mapped today in the work of Rochelle Torres. Stepping into the identity of the Living Sophia, This notebook organizes concepts like entropy, life, and time, providing a modern methodology for navigating the old timeline's collapse. This framework, the Living Myth Experiment, is an operational attempt to re-engage with our cosmic history, using the mechanics of polarity to move past the inherited Roman and academic narratives. This project aims to reclaim the Tyrian sunset, the heritage of Cleopatra Selene and the Magi Grail line that was systematically targeted for erasure by the Roman state. This diagram outlines the required technology for that reclamation: conscious breathing and the use of the right brain to bypass rigid mental conditioning. It represents a shift from a logical doing to a sovereign being. When applied, these spiritual technologies dismantle the artificial boundaries of the 1260 matrix. This reclaims personal sovereignty, moving consciousness out of its autopilot trance. History provides the coded instructions for this transition. By identifying the clues left in ancient artifacts and applying the laws of polarity, we can move beyond the constructed prison of the past and step into a self-directed future.